Item number 8805. Level 4. Secret. Containment Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-8805 has been placed under 24-hour Foundation observation via remote surveillance and an on-site caretaker. See description for further information. Description: SCP-8805 is the abandoned Rose Hill Cemetery, located 30 kilometers south of Pottsville, Pennsylvania. SCP-8805-A refers to the 120 grave sites and buried materials within the anomaly. Each instance features an oxidized copper grave bell affixed to a string that descends directly into the coffin. All tombstones are unmarked, and while they vary in size, shape, and composition, they are non-anomalous. Ground-penetrating radar has confirmed that each gravesite contains a single, vacant coffin. Every night between midnight and 0400, one of the grave bells will ring. Upon hearing the bell, stationed personnel must immediately carry out the following procedure. Identify and document the gravesite. All -A instances are numbered 1 through 120. Exhume the associated coffin. Confirm that the coffin is empty and record this observation in the file. Rebury the coffin and restore the gravesite to its original appearance as closely as possible. Ensure that the bell has ceased ringing. If the bell continues to ring, repeat the procedure. Addendum 8805.1. Research Notes. Waldo.aic discovered SCP-8805 following a scrape of various social media platforms. Initially believed to be a hoax, the anomaly's activity was confirmed by Site-17's containment force, who also constructed the reburial procedure and secured the site. Subsequently, SCP-8805 was selected as a candidate for the Foundation's experimental partial retirement scheme. Dr. Dwight O'Connell was assigned as head researcher and was provided with the necessary tools and equipment for a single-man job.
I'm finally situated in that little shack decon built for me. Has pretty good heat, especially for this weather. The first bell rang about 40 or so minutes ago. Looks like it was, 16. The 16th tombstone rang. I knew it was coming, but still it scared the hell out of me. No matter how many times decon drilled it into my head that these things were empty, I'm still stuck thinking I might be the unlucky one to find something inside. Other than dirt and mud, the coffin looks pretty much untouched. No scratches or signs of wear on the outside, and still no name or anything. I already opened it, and there's nothing inside. Again, it looks untouched. Reburying now. Good morning again. I heard the first ringing about 30 or so minutes ago. Took me a second to find it, since I walked toward the middle of the whole yard. Oddly, it ended up being the same coffin again, somehow. 16. It's not an impossible chance, literally 1 in 120, but still. I got a better hand of the tools decon tossed my way. The pulleys are phenomenal, especially for my back. Nevertheless, the coffin's been dug up. Still that dark reddish mahogany color on the outside, and still brand new, and still empty. Good morning. I haven't had this sort of solitary work in a while. Maybe 30 or so years since I had my own project without any collaboration. It's been a nice change of pace from the chaos of 17. I've been trying to do some testing, but I don't want to push anything too much. I let the bell ring for about a half hour before I ended up leaving just now. It's a fun little challenge having to try and follow the sound. They ring about once every 30 seconds, so it's not too hard, especially in the dead of night. Still, You'd be surprised by how much sound empty air can swallow. It's getting louder toward... Yeah, it's 16 again. How weird. Okay. Did the checks. Empty. Back in it goes. Forgot to push start. I had a whole thing that didn't get on tape. It is what it is. 16 again, the coffin. All dug up and exactly the same as yesterday. Empty. When you get accepted for this program, it really does put things in perspective. Whenever you get into one of those solo missions, your mind wants to jump to those horror stories they tell you in your first orientation. I thought about those stories every day. Every time I stepped into a lab or moved an anomaly. I'm still waiting for my first vivid nightmare or scare out in the woods. But it just looks like this is it. Yeah. Empty coffin. See you tomorrow. 16 again, empty coffin, nothing new. Not to be too much of an inconvenience, but I'd appreciate it if whoever was listening to these would let me know who they are. I assume it's one of the juniors in Ryza, as usual. I don't want a pen pal. It would be easier if I knew who I was addressing. You know, I've got some good advice if you need it. That's all. Confirming emptiness. "16, empty, reburied. Is anyone listening to these? 16, empty. Not trying to be a bother, just want to know who's listening. Thanks. Empty, 16. Anyone? Empty, 16. I forgot to record. Happened around 1 a.m. 16, empty. Bye. Empty. 16. 16, and believe it or not, it's empty. I get that I'm on my way out. I understand that I'm not the hot new thing and won't be contributing anymore after this. It's just that I gave a lot of time and effort into this organization. I put a lot of blood and sweat into ensuring that no one I worked with got hurt or died. That applies to whoever is supposed to be taking care of these tapes, too. You're alive because all of our work, including yourself. You're not sprouting an extra arm out of your head because someone made sure you wouldn't, and you're supposed to ensure that for your fellow researcher. I'm not one of those old assholes who's gonna tell you to show some respect, but come on! I want a name. And maybe whatever your position is so I can address you appropriately. It's 16 and it's empty. Good night.
Profanity removed.
The censor should have been triggered. If it's still under manual review, let me know when you've heard the other tapes and contact me back. I guess they automated it. 16. Empty. 16. Empty. 16. Empty. If I don't get a response by the 25th, I'm done. 16. Empty. Still nothing. Goodbye.
Addendum 8805.2. Incident 8805.1. On 25 January 2021, an expected SCP-8805 event was initiated. According to current procedure, head researcher Dwight O'Connell should have immediately approached the ringing coffin, unburied it, ensured it was empty, and then reburied it. Instead, the following incident took place, recorded on the research site's security cameras. Begin log. 0251 SCP-8805 A16 begins ringing. 0256 Researcher O'Connell exits his lodging and sits on the doorstep, facing the graveyard. Per protocol, researchers must initiate search procedures within 5 minutes of auditory activation and locate the grave within 15. 0301 A16 continues ringing. No attempt at engagement is made. 0321 The ringing persists. O'Connell remains seated, rising only briefly to glance at A16 before resuming his position. His expression is unreadable. 0334 O'Connell retrieves an audio recorder from his coat and begins documenting his observations. 0336 A sudden amplification in volume interrupts him. He stiffens, then stands. 0340 A17 activates in harmony with A16. 0345 A19, A18, and A20 ring in rapid succession. O'Connell drops the recorder and begins moving toward the epicenter. 0346 12 more instances within a 2-coffin radius of SCP-8805 A16 activate simultaneously. The bells, slightly out of sync, form a rising wall of dissonant sound as 14 more join in the clamor. 0347 An additional 33 instances activate. The noise escalates into chaotic, unstructured cacophony. O'Connell clutches his ears, stumbling backward as he retreats into his lodging. He slams the door shut. The ground appears to tremble beneath the resonance. 0348 All -A instances are active. 13 bells have dislodged from the soil and lie prone, still thrashing as they attempt to ring. Vibrations are visible in the surrounding vegetation. 0349 A window in O'Connell's lodging shatters. 0350 Audio from the security system degrades into static. The camera image shakes erratically, artifacting across the frame. 0351 The volume intensifies. A second window bursts inward. Several bells are visibly distorting. Clappers strike faster than mechanically feasible. At least 2 bells have begun to fracture along the waist. 0352 O'Connell emerges, half doubled over. One hand presses to his head, the other gropes blindly for the audio recorder. He fumbles with its buttons, screaming incoherently into the receiver. His gaze darts to the surveillance camera. He raises both arms, signaling, then abruptly turns toward SCP-8805. He freezes for a moment and then flees back inside, slamming the door again. 0352 The camera feed cuts to black. The bells continue to ring. The sound of pounding in quick succession is nearly imperceptible beneath the roar of the bells. 0353 A cracking bang is faintly audible. 0400 The camera feed resumes. All ringing has ceased. The door to O'Connell's lodging stands ajar. All visible -A instances are inert, having been restored to prior positions and conditions. End log. After this incident, the Fire Suppression Department assumed responsibility for the remainder of this file. Subsequently, they launched an independent investigation and came to the following conclusion. Researcher O'Connell deliberately sabotaged the SCP-8805 operation, as evidenced by the premeditated nature of the incident, his expressed dissatisfaction with the Foundation, his knowledge of how to trigger a surveillance blackout, and the absence of emergency containment services being contacted. All of O'Connell's belongings were found in the house and have been moved into evidence. This incident has been classified as desertion. In light of this incident, Dr. Ethan McBride has been assigned as head researcher of the SCP-8805 project.
This is my first check-in for the SCP-8805 containment project. I've dug up the coffin, confirmed that it is empty, and I am now in the process of reburial.
Extraneous audio removed.
Oh, before I forget, I dug up and reburied SCP-8805-A17. Have a good night, everyone.